I think everybody should know me. I'm Hannah Cole, the Life Enrichment Coordinator. I brought them in. This is not Grace's first time being here. This is Grace's second time being here. I met Grace actually at Westminster Presbyterian for the Bach lunch. So, yes, if you went to the Bach lunch, Starmount Presbyterian, yes. So that is how we made that contact, and we've been lucky that she's been able to come back and bring in some new music and some different pieces. This time, she'll get more into it, but she has brought along her husband, Joseph Anderson, and he's going to be on the flamenco guitar. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Grace.
Thank you, Hannah. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. I see familiar faces from when I was here a couple of months ago, before the summer. So, a little story about Joseph, my husband here. When I first met him, he had long hair, and he played the guitar. Can you imagine? And I look the way I do still, younger, of course. So when people saw us, they would assume that he was the musician and I was the lawyer, because one of us had to have a real job. But based on his long hair, but it's the other way around. He's the lawyer, I'm the musician by profession. But I have to tell you, his passion for flamenco guitar is amazing. It started when I first met him, and one of the first birthday presents I got him was a Yamaha $200 banger guitar. And he started playing, that was what, almost 20 years ago? 2007. Yeah, there's a little buzz. I think the aliens are chiming in, but that's okay. If that doesn't bother you, I'll just carry on. It might go away when I stop talking. So he started playing flamenco guitar, and he got so serious about it that he went to Spain, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times, for these summer courses, and he was studied from the lion's mouth. The guy's name is Sanlúcar, if you ever want to Google him, but the likes of, what is that really famous guy? Lucia? San Lucia. Pago de Lucia. So, from people that were trained in this tradition of flamenco guitar since they were little. So he's been steeped in this culture for many years, and you would think we would collaborate a lot because there's a lot of music at our house. But this, right now, is our first time doing a concert together. So I'm so glad you can join us for this. Okay, so a little layout of what we have for you in the next hour. So we're going to start with a very ancient tune called La Folia. You probably are already familiar with it because, let's see, Vivaldi, Corelli, Lully, and many, many composers, hundreds of composers, have written their own theme and variations after this tune. So La Folia came from the 15th century, from what people think were Portugal or the Iberian Peninsula, from Valencia. The exact origins we don't know, but it's somewhere in Portugal or Spain. And so this version that we're playing, it's cobbled together from many, many variations by Corelli. We're playing 7 different variations. Then after that, Joseph is going to play solo flamenco guitar, and he'll talk to you about the different forms and moods that each piece conveys. And then I'll come in and do my solo cello piece. This one is by Casado, and I'll talk to you about that as we go. And we'll end with 2 short pieces, and that should wrap up the program. All right, so the first up is La Folia by Antonio Corelli.
So I'm the lawyer that she talked about. Thank you guys for letting me be here. I have to tell you that for me, sitting here right now is really, it's almost a dream come true, to be honest with you. When I first met Grace, you know, we've known each other a good while now. I met her, I'll tell you where I met her. I met her at the salad bar at Whole Foods. You can't have a much more wholesome introduction than that, right? And the first interaction I had with her actually was musical in nature. I walked up to her and the first words out of my mouth were, "Is that a cello?" Because she had on her back, in her silver case, a cello. She had just won a symphony job at Winston-Salem Symphony, and she was getting some lunch. And her cello, as I would later learn, was worth so much more than her car, which was kind of a junker, that if she left it in the car and somebody stole the car, she'd lose everything, you see. Plus, she didn't want it to get too hot. These are sensitive instruments. But I was always musical. Not like her. She's been to Juilliard and she's, as you can see, she's a master. But I was always musical, and even that first day, I said to her, once we got talking, I said, you know, I have a piece of music I've written, it's out in the car. And it's, you know, sheet music. Would you look at it? She said, sure. And I brought it in there, and she looked at it, and she could hear it in her head. And I said, oh my Lord, who is this person? And so it's been going like that pretty much ever since. When she first met me, I was a rock and roll drummer. I grew up in California. I'd played drums for a long time, many years. And we have 3 kids together. We have a little daughter. And when she was born, I started saying to myself, I have no interest in going out and playing rock and roll drums in bars and stuff and staying out late and doing all the things you have to do and carrying all that equipment home at 2 and 3 in the morning. I got a child, you know, I've got a wife. So I quit my band and I was wanting to play music. And that's when she got me the guitar that she mentioned. It was a Yamaha 6-string, nylon string guitar, and I had never touched a thing like that before in my life. And she's right, I did. I got completely obsessed with it. And I went to Spain multiple times, and I studied with Paco Serrano. And I studied with Gerardo Rivera's. And I studied with Juan Martin, who's my current teacher. And I still study with him. So, I'm almost finished with my talking. So for me, I kept coming back from Spain with these Spanish rhythms, these Spanish sounds, and I'd assemble them more and more and more into pieces of music. And the way flamenco works is there are different types of flamenco, different song types. And within those song types, there are different falsettas, which are little sections of it. And if you can picture it, it's like Legos. You're free to put those together however you want. So everybody's compositions are unique. It's not like in classical music where, you know, there's Brahms and it's written on the page and this is how you must play it. So the composition that I'm about to play for you is really my own composition. And the part of the reason why I say this is a dream for me is because, obviously, to be able to play with someone of her caliber is a remarkable experience, okay? Just to be here, first of all, just to play that La Folia that we play. But to be able to play for you what I'm going to play you now, this is really special to me. And I'll tell you why. This is my Bulería. It's the hardest piece I know. It's the hardest piece I know. And I'm scared to play it. Because I may mess it up. But you know what? The idea that I would come over here and have the nerve to play this means a lot to me. You see what I'm saying? It means a lot to me. And so I thank you for listening. It's called Bulería, and in flamenco, it kind of means joke. And the reason why it kind of means joke is because it's so damn hard to play. So if I make mistakes, forgive me, but this is my bulería, and it is entitled Padre, Father, for the dad that I love and miss every day. So much. And now it's her turn.
That's pretty good for a lawyer.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
So it's funny that when we're trying to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I turned it on.
No.
Oh, is this on?
On the bottom.
Oh, this on the bottom? How about now?
Yep.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, it's funny when we think about Spanish music or French music or whatever nationality it is, we have to hard to put your finger on what is it that makes it Spanish. Yeah, definitely the driving rhythm in that Bulerías for sure. For me, the most sort of salty part about Spanish music is the harmonies. Yeah, it's very sultry. And so this mode, this particular scale that they use, which you'll hear in my piece as well, it's called the Phrygian mode. So if you're coming down the scale, the last 5 notes in a Western, sort of more traditional Western scale, would it sound like bom, 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 bom. But in his piece, it was bom, 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 bom. You notice this note right before the last note was a little lower, and it gave it that little kind of darkness. So my piece is called the Cello Solo Suite by Gaspar Casado. He was a great first-tier cellist, soloist cellist all over the world. Right around the time of I would say 1850 to 1920s. And he wrote this piece to really bring the Spanish flavor into the cello repertoire. Up till then, everything is kind of French or German, more Bach, but he was one of the first to bring this nationalistic style. So you're actually going to hear me trying to imitate the guitar. So kind of back and forth now. You're going to hear some of that arpeggiation. You're going to hear some castanets out of the cello, I hope, if I do it well. and of course the driving rhythms. So this piece has 3 parts to it, 3 movements. The first one is a fantasia. It's called Prelude Fantasia. And it's just that, it's completely wandering into an imaginary world. The second piece, the second movement, is called Sardana. It's a folk dance. It danced in Catalonia, which is up in the mountains between Spain and France. And that's when people dance in circles. And then it ends with a final dance full of Spanish rhythms. So here is the Casado Suite. Center myself. Agua.
So we have two more short numbers, and they're both really special. Both have stories. This first piece is actually, you remember I told you that when I first met Grace, I had a little bit of music I'd been writing that was in the car? Well, this is not that piece of music, but this is a piece of music that I wrote. And when I heard we were coming over here and we were going to get a chance to play for y'all, I added a cello part. So that is why there is one. And the way this piece started, you know, musicians are always writing what we call etudes, or studies, to learn how to do something with our hands. So in this instance, the study is to do this kind of a thing. It's an arpeggio. And you want to really, you know, you want that to become like super second nature and easy for you. So you got to do it a lot. So when I come up with studies to learn these types of things, I always make them a little bit more musical, so it's not so darn boring, right? So that's how this came to be. I made up an etude. It was pretty musical. I kind of liked it. And I started calling it something. I started giving it a name. I called it The Haunting. Haunting. And I don't mean to keep talking about my dad, but it felt like he was around me all the time. And that was when I was developing this song. So when I heard we were coming over here, I thought we need some music to play together. And so I wrote her a cello part. And I think it's gorgeous. So I hope you do too.
pieces as well. So the last song, and I'll let you say something too, but I just want to say this last song is also meaningful to me. This is a song that was made famous by Pablo Casals, the great cellist. And my wife here studies in the line of cellists who study with Pablo Casals. Her great teacher, Bernard Greenhouse, was a direct pupil of Pablo Casals. And when I met Grace shortly after we had our first child together, I made a point to take her to Spain, to Pablo Casals' hometown. And our daughter, who was then 2 or 3 years old, played Pablo Casals' piano. This song is called Song of the Birds.
Let me just add, Song of the Birds, it's about peace. It was written, it's a folk tune, but Casals turned it into a cello piece around the time of the war when Franco was the dictator and threatened to, basically enslave the Catalonians. So Casals this was his way of fighting back to sing the song of his people from Catalonia.
And I'm sorry, I just have to add one more thing. Okay, in the journey that has been our lives together, something so incredible happened to us with regard to this song. I'd heard it was a famous song, and I'd heard it was a big deal and everything else. But we were somewhere in Catalonia, and we had our little daughter with us. We didn't have our sons yet, but we had our little daughter. We were tired, we've been traveling all day and taking care of a young baby, and we collapsed in there in this hotel room, drew down all the shades and fell asleep. And the next morning, I kid you not, when I was awakened, it was by church bells playing this song. This song right here. I could not believe it. That's all I got to say. Oh, God. That's a capo. I messed up.
That was not peace.
No, that was not peace.